Okay, my name is, and I'm doing this video today just to talk about how it really feels to be asexual, because everybody always says, every video you ever watch, they're like, it's okay, I'm like this, blah blah blah, I'm proud, but I don't feel like that's actually the reality of it. And on top of that, you might be wondering why my face is blurred out, and that's because, to put it quite simply, I'm embarrassed about it. This is not something that everybody around me knows about, because I'm embarrassed about it. And when you actually think about it, like when you think about, when other people think about what an asexual is, they think that you're a snowflake, or you're looking for attention, or you're desperate to be special, like in some way, that you have to be this like completely different sexuality. But that is one of the reasons why I don't go around telling it, because people do laugh. And the amount of times that you have told someone who wants to get in a relationship with you that you are an asexual, and they just think that we'll change that, you know, I'll show you how it's really good or really meant to be, and I'll basically change that, basically illegitimise how you feel about it, which is awful. They just basically laugh at you and make you feel like such a moron anyway, when it's really difficult enough to say to somebody the truth about it. I've been in a couple of relationships in the past, some where I have not had any sex with them, and some where I have had sex. So people can't tell me, like people used to tell me when I didn't have any interest before I'd lost my virginity, that I couldn't or I didn't know because I'd never done it. But I have done it, and I still feel the same way. It doesn't interest me, but I do it for the sake of my partners. It was a really difficult thing to realise, because when I was in like secondary school, and all my friends were like 13, 14, and they were all losing their virginities, they were all really interested in that kind of stuff, and like I didn't feel that way, and I had no one to turn to. Like, who are you supposed to tell that you don't feel that way? Like, so you run around, you have no idea why you're the only one. You think, oh, maybe I'm just behind. But it just never happens. It's just how it felt. It's just like it never ever happened. Like, I still feel like the same way I felt like when I was like 10, you know, or like before you ever really got an interest in having any sexual activity. That's how I feel about it. Obviously you mature in other ways. I just mean, like, with the sexual aspect, you just never developed one. Like, it never became of interest to you, which does make me kind of feel like a bit of an evolutionary failure, because obviously it's supposed to be instinctual to want to have sex, but I don't want any of those things. So it isn't something that I just talk to openly. I mean, at one point it was something that I did just tell my friends, or if I went on a date with someone I would just tell them. But after the reactions and things I got, and the fact that they just never believed me, it's just never been something I've brought up. And in my most recent relationship, like my current one, I didn't mention it. It took like 9 months for them to say anything about it, because they figured it out on their own, which I know is not necessarily the right thing to do, and you should tell people, but it's literally like, what are you supposed to do? Because no matter what you say, if you tell someone or not, they just don't believe you, they just don't listen to you, they think you're stupid, and you're just coming up with rubbish. I mean, it's a good excuse if you want to reject someone, maybe, is that you just don't, you know, you're just asexual, so you don't have interest in anyone anyway. But yeah, it's just been really difficult. Like, I literally got to a point in my life once when everyone, like I said, everyone around me was having sex at 13, 14 years old, and I wasn't. So And it got to the point where I was like, well, I need to just like have sex, because I kind of had thought and kind of hoped that maybe I would change my mind when I had done it. And I went out of my way to basically try and have sex with someone, and it obviously didn't work. Like, I wasn't ready. It wasn't, what I wanted to do. And it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever experienced in my life. I just cried afterwards. It was horrible. I wish I never done it. I regret it. But it's just like that, when you just want to fit in with everybody else, and not just because you want to fit in with everyone else. That's not what it's about. It's because you know that it's so difficult to find relationships with people who are not after sex these days. Like, in social media, it's all about, like, everything is sexualized now, and people just think that being in a relationship equals sex, but that is not how I see it. I see there's so much more to a relationship than sex. Yeah, sex does normally, is normally part of a relationship, but it's so much more even before that even comes to play. That's, obviously for many people that is a requirement. For me, obviously it's not. I'll still do it, but I just can't keep up with some people's like sex drives, or like they're going like every day or several times a day. Like, that's not realistic. Not when I'm not interested in it. There's no way I can do that. It's like a chore. Like, why would I, every single day of my life do so, like this extra chore? Yeah, like, I think the truth about it is you just hear so much about people saying, oh, just be accepting of who you are, or I've learned to accept it, and things like that. As much as I have learned to accept it, and that's the way I am, it still makes me feel shit about myself, because it's really difficult to find people. Yeah, we can find more asexuals, but that limits your dating pool so much. That's the problem with this. It's difficult to find someone anyway. But then the minute you add something else, like just a wrench into the mix, and just like your dating pool just diminishes completely, and it just becomes really hard to find someone to go out with. But yeah, it's an embarrassing thing to say. People just don't believe you. People are convinced that they can change your mind if they have sex with you. I hope you enjoy my the truth, basically. This is just a video about the truth of how I feel about it. Maybe some people do accept how they are, but I don't. Thanks for listening.